Hey, welcome to another edition of Blathercast Comics. This is a special edition here. I'm John, and today I've got somebody special joining us for a little interview.
Hey, what up, people? It's me, Canales. Oh, okay.
Well, there you go.
Okay, I seem to have missed my cue, but that was cool nonetheless. Thank
That's
you
all
very much.
right. It all won't matter in a you know.
To quote our boy Zach, nothing matters.
So you've done some work for our little T-shirt shop. You've done a couple of pieces of art that we've used on some shirts, including the one that's gonna is the kind of the background of this video. And you're also tell us a little bit about some of the other work that you've done prior to, and then we'll go into the main project you have getting released very shortly here.
Well, I've been doing comics for pretty much all my life, except only I got monetized, so to speak, only recently, thanks to the internet. And I've been drawing and writing my own webcomic for I think 2 years now. Decimators. You can check it out on my Twitter page. And I also worked on I need to promote my friend Sal more on a webcomic called See You Next Tuesday with Sal Bruculetti, which is a great guy from New Jersey. And what else did I do? I've done everything. I've drawn Transformers comics, Transformers fan comics, in a continuity that I must say I like very much better than the official comic continuity in which they have gay robots for some reason. Yeah, I know, man. They have gay robots now.
So I wonder how that works. So are we saying that robots have a gender? Because I would
Uh,
assume that they're. I mean, I can see how an android would have a gender, but
that's actually an interesting question. And there's this guy Simon Furman. I don't know if you're familiar with Transformers comics, but there's this guy Simon Furman, which is like the most respected Transformers writer ever. It's like the Transformers own Larry Hama. So this guy came up with an idea for RC, the female Transformer, which explained that the Transformers are genderless, except when you, for some reason, insert gender into them. They're like just humanoid, and I'll explain in a bit. I'm still a bit confused. I've been thinking in Spanish the whole day, and now I have to think in English. So if I say anything stupid, please bear with me. So yeah, there's this story about a crazy transformer scientist who made a transformer female, and that drove him insane. So there's this interesting idea about transformers being genderless but not, if that explains anything.
I mean, they've never really talked about how Transformers reproduce, right? Like, does I mean, most of them have a dipstick and a place to put the dipstick. So I don't know, like how does that, do they stick the old banana in the tailpipe or
Yeah, man, I don't
I
know.
don't understand.
Considering what they did to the canon, anything's possible now. I mean, they have like yeah, they have turned it into they have completely marvelized it to the point that it's just a self-referencing parody. It's like a sitcom that makes fun of itself.
Oh, eventually they'll get different writers on there. And even if the sales are so bad that the comic just goes away, eventually somebody will pick it up again, and it'll be good.
Yeah,
Throughout comics history, regardless of some of the poor writing that has happened now in comics, it's kind of some of it's kind of boring. Um, you know, it's happened before. However, there wasn't any kind of controversy around it. It just wasn't fun to read. Eventually, I think this stuff will all correct itself. People will
Yeah,
quit buying stuff, and then those people will lose their jobs. I mean, it's just, you know, uh, whether everybody wants to think that it's not a free market and that everybody should get a pat on the back, even if they suck. It's just not the way the world works. You know, that's
yeah. They're just trying to turn it into a club. We've already talked about this like a bazillion times, but yeah, that's their purpose. It's actually it's funny because it's happening the same thing here with, and this might seem unconnected, but it's not, with kickboxing scene. I don't know if I already told you guys, but I'm a kickboxer in my spare time. When I'm not drawing things, I'm hitting people in the face.
I'll keep
And
that in mind when I want to say something rude.
please do, please do. And yeah, that's there's actually like 4 or 5 clubs in my area, and they're busier trying to sabotage each other than actually trying to produce good fighters. So the objective is apparently to be the only club, which is stupid because kickboxing is a competitive sport. You need other clubs in order to fight someone. So it's kind of the similar thing here. I mean, who are you trying to make comics for? Your friends? You don't need a company for that. Just upload your comics to the internet and tell everyone, hey guys, I made a comic, check it out, which is what I do. You don't need to be Marvel for that.
Right. You could get a free WordPress site and just throw your shit up there.
Daddy,
Okay.
You
Sorry,
were on board.
little interruption there. Yeah. So, how has it been working with? Well, actually, so what project? You have a project coming out, and it's going on right now. The funding.
I'm glad you asked, Mr. Blabbermouth. Yeah, I have Ironsides coming up, thanks to our boy Zach, to Diversity and Comics. And it was a great experience because this guy really knows his comics. I've worked with other writers before, but this guy really knew what he wanted, and he would steer me in the right direction whenever something didn't feel right to him. And whenever he did that, I could check out myself that the end result was better than what I had in mind. So it's been a great experience, and he's a timely payer. He's always in time with the money. That's important for a boss too.
So, off the topic of comics, just a little bit. What's it? What I'm curious about this is just my own curiosity. I don't even know if my audience gives a shit or not. Well, I don't care if they care. I'm going to ask it anyways. What kind of government is over there in Spain? Is that like you vote for a party, and then if the party gets the most votes, their guy becomes the prime minister? Like, how does that work over there? I'm not familiar with Spain's structure.
That is an extremely good question, and I was about to Google it, but I realized that I don't want to keep our audience waiting. So what we have, I believe, is called parliamentary monarchy. You have a king, and then you elect someone who is kind of like a prime minister, except not, because he actually has more power than the king. The king is actually like a really important state worker, which has to sign your documents. He has like kind of like the last word when it comes to deciding stuff. But it's actually the president, because it's not the prime minister; it's the president who has the highest authority. So we're kind of in between. We're not a constitutional republic, not a monarchy either.
So, do you directly elect the president, or do you elect members of representatives or parliament or whatever, and
Oh,
then
you elect the president, which
so
whom
you vote
yeah,
directly for the president.
yeah, he's
Okay,
usually the how to say this, the guy in charge of one of the two major parties in Spain.
right. So I just asked because I know it's kind of different. You know, it's different in different countries. Like our neighbors to the north, there they don't directly elect their prime minister, which is kind of like their president.
Yeah,
They elect their representatives, and whatever representatives have the most seats, their guy ends up being the prime minister, which is, I don't know, there's a little less checks and balances there. It seems like while the prime minister's party is always in power, you know, so those they can just run rampant and screw
yeah.
everything
I
up.
think that kind of countries are always like how do I say this? It's already set, so the same guys will always be in charge. There's no hope for a really strong change like in the US, in which anyone in theory can become a president. You know, you have to come from somewhere to be a president.
Anybody with a bankroll, anyways.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now back to the comics. Sorry, I just was
Yes.
my curiosity run away with me. So how has it been work? So you liked working with DNC. How do you like the positive and negative attention that comes along with that?
Well, I'm used to the negative attention because I've always been a what's the American equivalent for tocapelotas, which is like a guy who likes to touch your balls a lot, but it's not a good thing. Uh, I've always been kind of a contestatory guy. So I'm pretty used to the negative reactions. Actually, I'm working for SAC because I'm pretty much a pariah in the Spanish comic book industry, if there's such a thing, because all our artists are writers too, are working either in France or for Marvel. So you know, there's no such thing as a Spanish industry. But if it was, I wouldn't be welcoming it.
All right. So what do you have any other projects? I mean, I don't want you to spoil them or anything. Do you have any other projects lined up?
I have several offers to draw pitches and yeah, pretty much pitches. You know, five page short stories, and some of them look really cool. Some of them I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm currently drawing for my good friend Sal, the aforementioned guy from New Jersey. I'm drawing a story which could be described as Sons of Anarchy meet Ravenous. I don't know if you guys seen Ravenous.
I have not.
It's I know it's not a very popular movie. It's about cannibals. It's a cannibal western with this guy from Memento. What was his name? Guy something. He wasn't Prometheus too.
Is this based on the true story?
No, not entirely. It's vaguely, it's loosely based on it, but it's a completely different story. It's about a bunch of soldiers on a fort who begin to eat each other.
Okay.
It's really cool. It's a really good movie. Underrated too.
So, yeah, I think I've only watched a couple movies about cannibals, and one of them was based on a true story. That was Matt Parker and
Yeah, yeah.
Trey
Cannibal the
Trey
musical.
yeah, Trey Parker and Matt Stone's movie
Yeah,
Cannibal the
South Park
Musical.
guys.
Yeah. And I think they did that right out of college or maybe when they were in college. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think it was a college assignment, and they actually pumped it up to a full blown movie. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I finished Iron Sights, which is our project with Zach, and I'm currently drawing a 5 page pitch for a cannibal biker story, which is an awesome subject if you ask me.
I always think it's interesting when people eat each other.
Yeah, We need to talk about people eating each other. Wasn't there an article in Vice about why eating each other it shouldn't be taboo or something like that?
uh, yeah, I don't understand that myself. I'm pretty okay with that not being okay. You
Yeah, I think
shouldn't.
we can do without eating each other. that, that
Hey,
that shouldn't be an issue to discuss.
are you gonna need that arm tomorrow? Cause it looks pretty tasty.
I'm kind of hungry. You're not using it, are you?
uh, so out of the current books out right now, I'm assuming you read comics also. What
Less than I should, probably less than I should, but yeah.
what kind of books are you really digging right now?
What kind of books, of the recently published? I haven't been in a comic store in like months. I know I bought something recently. I can't remember though. I bought a reissue, so I don't know if that counts of an Elseworlds story about Superman by I can't remember the team. It was from the 90s, so it was pretty good. Right now, I'm really interested, and I'm waiting for the trade in Sean Gordon Murphy's White Knight. It
Oh,
looks
that was a
it looks
good read.
yeah, it looks great, man. I'm a huge Sean Gordon Murphy fan. I think the first thing I read from him was Hellblazer, City of Demons, which is
Oh,
John Constantine,
yeah, yep.
and it was amazing. It was mind blowing. He's one of my top three, maybe four artists of all time, along with Kevin O'Neill and Jeff Darrow, which are probably my two favorite artists of all time. And then there's this guy. I love his style, and he's a good writer too. I have an old comic he made called Off Road, which is written by him, and it's really well written. So I really want to check out White Knight when it comes out in the whole trade thing.
So, yeah, what turned me, I think the first thing I read by him was Punk Rock Jesus. And I really enjoyed that book. I think I'm up to 4 different copies of that book now. I bought it in the floppies. I bought the deluxe hardcover edition. Um, and I bought the trade paperback. I bought 2 different trade paperbacks, and one of them I bought from him at a convention. I saw him at a convention, and he was a really cool guy.
Yeah, he's great with fans. He's the right. I'm not going to say politics. He's the right stance on politics and social media.
Yeah, don't talk about it. It's pretty much a good stance to have.
Because everyone there's this urban legend going around that we want comics to be right wing or to be anti-feminist or anti-SJW. That's a lie. We just want comics to be good. Just
Yeah,
want comics to
yeah.
be not even apolitical. Just not propaganda. That's the only thing I ask.
I don't even care about the propaganda so much. It's just the way it would be delivered. Like, I'd be totally okay with if it fit well in the story and was written well. That's all that would matter. It wouldn't matter if it was like this overtly pro whatever. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what the propaganda is. If it was a good story and written well, I would like it. A good example of this would be like you have like Alice Cott, and he wrote some garbage in James Bond. However, I really enjoy his book Days of Hate, which is wicked propaganda, left wing propaganda. But that's kind of what the whole story is about, and it fits and it's good.
Yeah.
Then you throw it somewhere where it doesn't really fit, and the story's not there, and then it's no good.
Yeah, I think we can all remember the bits about Spider-Man and the X-Men talking about stupid gender roles that we human have, things like that. And don't mansplain to me. It's not even you don't even need that in the context of the story. It's just
No.
shoehorning. You can tell.
Right. Yeah, it shouldn't be. Yeah, it shouldn't be shoehorned in. Um, if I could come up with a hundred different stories where maybe you had a transgender teenager and he was getting persecuted, but he also had something that was going to save the day. And but part of getting him on your side to save the day is helping him overcome his persecutors. Like, okay, now we've got a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not just
yeah, because
yeah.
I can think of Max Visage's stories, and how the fact that their characters are transgender is completely accessory. You could write Teen Titans or Go without the main character being trans, and it would be the same story because it doesn't impact the story as far as I can tell.
Right. Right.
I think a transgender person is going through such an important thing in her life that the story should be about that. I don't think she has time or he has time for anything else in the particular time of his life.
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah. It shouldn't be about how I should think about it. If you want to bring it up, then it should be a part of the story, not something you just hammer in a couple panels to shake your finger at people who might disagree with you.
Yeah, it's just how it feels. It's like the female or I'm not going to say LGBT characters in Star Wars because we all know that C-3PO was always LGBT. But the female shoehorning of Rey or Admiral Holdo, those characters don't fit the story.
So
It,
I don't feel that I'm one of the few, but I didn't like I had no really big beefs with any of that in Star Wars. It didn't. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was the greatest Star Wars ever. It's maybe my least favorite Star Wars movie, but I thought it was fine. I thought it was fun to watch. The other thing, and this might affect my opinion, I took my son with me, and he's like 4, and like he just thought it was incredible. So
yeah, well, kids
you
have
know,
kids have that effect on you.
especially that scene where the I I don't know, the camel looking animals or whatever like busted through the
Oh yeah,
casino and stuff, and he's just like, oh my god, look at that, oh my god, he was just like
look at the
freaking out.
Pokemons, Dad.
Yeah, it was the best. So like that memory for me like really puts a big bright spot on that movie for me,
I can understand what you mean.
um and it's like I can give the other stuff a pass. I didn't think they were jamming anything down our throats. I kind of like the and it seems obvious to me. Man, what was the ex stormtrooper's name?
Finn.
Finn. So I kind of like that. It's obvious that he's not that into Rose, but Rose is really into him, and I think that could be an interesting story.
I
Um,
think I think Finn had the potential to be the best character in the new trilogy, but they have to turn him into a cack because apparently every black character must be some kind of effeminate soy boy now. But I really liked his arc. Imagine this little kid who has been abducted from his family and has been trained by a fascist cult into becoming a killing machine, and suddenly he decides that he can't kill anyone because it's just not in him, and he goes AWOL, and he has to try and fit into civilian life again, but he doesn't know how because he only knows violence. I think that could be a really interesting character, but he turned him into a they turned him into comic relief, which sucks in my opinion.
right. Okay, I see that. That was the one thing that bugged me the most about that movie was uh it seemed like they took every opportunity possible to throw in one-liners.
Yeah,
and that bugged me quite a bit. I don't think that's necessary. I think in real life, I mean, I know I hear singers throughout the day, but I don't know if that's so much like I don't know which came first, pop culture with the zingers, or like is that pop culture reflecting art, or life reflecting art, or art reflecting life? And I think it's definitely more life reflecting art. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like everybody thinks they need to be funny.
yeah. I think they had the memes in mind. The kind of Loki, Captain America memes spawning from Civil War and all that. I got that reference memes. So that's
Right.
what they were going for. I think they were trying to non-organically create memes to somehow turn Star Wars into a viral phenomenon, which didn't need to be because Star Wars is already viral. I know.
Right. Yeah, it's already a phenomenon. Yeah. Definitely.
Tell them I say hi.
All right. Well, I'm going to put some links up to your Indiegogo in this video here, and
Great.
did you have anything else you wanted to plug? Your DeviantArt page, or
Yeah, you can actually have more traffic on my Twitter page. You can find me at thingy Canalus Heresy on Twitter, or canalus.deviantart.com if you want to see more of my stuff. And that's pretty much it. I also have a Facebook page, but since all my old leftist friends are there, I rarely use it. So yeah, you can always find me on Twitter.
yeah, if it wasn't for our YouTube channel, I probably wouldn't be on Facebook either. I just have no use for it.
It's 2008.
Oh well. All right. I guess that's another issue in the bag.
Groovy.